guys, and this is going to be just one video, but it's going to have 3 parts to it. Part 1 is my office. Part 2, it's going to be a theatre, and 3 is going to be my studio. So let's begin with my office. As you can see behind me, I have 4 screens. 2 are my basically Apple products, iMacs. The other 2, which are located on top, they are external screens, 1 for each Mac. The reason why I've done that is, so if I've got multiple programs on, so Safari or the internet, but other programs such as burning software, so if I wanted to burn music to it or anything like that, or I do transfers or anything like that, so VHSs, audio cassettes, vinyls, anything from old cassette video recorders, so a bit like mine, but they have a tape to it. I basically transfer all that stuff onto one of my iMacs, and I edit them onto iMovie. If I need to transfer stuff over from the main one, I transfer it over to my other ones. I can do multiple stuff going on at the same time. And also these 2 Macs also help me with my other business, Gecko Bar Discos. I basically take bookings in, doing track listings, speaking to clients and stuff like that. So I run 2 businesses off of these Macs. So Gecko Bar Discos is one of them, Mike's Music Transfers is the other one. In fact, I actually run 3 businesses off these Macs. The third one is Lawfees Garden Services. I speak with clients, when they book me, if they do, I go out and do that job. Like Gecko Bar Discos, speak with them, they book me, I go and do that job. I basically jostle things around according to how important they are. And so far it's doing alright, but with Lawfees Garden Services, I've got my fiance who's part of it. She lives about an hour away from here, Boston way, and she does actually take messages on Facebook, whereas I take messages and telephonically, so over the phone basically. And I've done a couple of jobs already, and through that I've done multiple jobs DJing, and only a number of jobs with the transfers, which is pretty decent. And as you can see, some of my stuff here for the transfer side of things, I have down at the bottom an audio cassette player and recorder. As soon as I get audio cassette tapes, put them there, get GarageBand up, press record, and then press play on the player. GarageBand records it, and once I've done that, edit it onto CD, be named, printed, and it's there. The next one is the VHS player. So any VHS tapes I get in, that's including tapes from camcorders as well, because I've got an adapter, which is that. So you put the cassette tape in there, pop it into the VHS player, and it do the same thing but with a different program. Pop it in, get it recorded, and same process happens at the end. Edited to DVD, printed, and it's there. Then I've got a vinyl player. I use the same program as the audio cassettes. Straight on to GarageBand, done deal. And then I have a cable that connects into the back of my iMacs. If there's no physical piece that goes into the camera, I can actually connect that camera to the iMac, get it recorded. And then for like the photos, like if you have if you've ever had or owned a camera that has a film in it, so a negative film, and you've gone to a store to get them put onto a positive form of whatever picture you've taken, I can actually take those photos, get them scanned and edited, so that then they can be on a DVD. For any of the things that I put onto my Mac, I could actually offer my clients CD, DVD, or hard drive, because now digital age, most of the stuff is on hard drive or internet. But I don't do internet for my clients. It's basically the three things that I've mentioned. And then my printer is not your typical printer that just does paper. I can actually print CDs and DVDs. So I create design for whatever I get recorded or scanned onto my Mac, create the design for the CD and cover. It's your typical standard paper in, paper out, and then for CDs and DVDs I set it to print, and then the printer tells me when to open the next drawer. As soon as it tells me to do that, I open that section there and the DVD CD tray goes in there. As soon as I've lined it up, arrow to arrow, I press that button there and it gets printed. And it's pretty simple really on the outside once you get used to it. But behind the scenes, it's actually quite messy. Because you having to have cable for this, cable for that, cable for another device. You're looking at probably 25 to 35 cables for everything. That's including including power cables, USBs, and SCARTs. And yeah, it's pretty easy once you get used to it, particularly with programs that you've never used. You get used to them after a little while. So that is number one. And then number two is my theatre, or home cinema system if you like. if I want to watch a film or films, how many, depending on what I feel like, I've got a projector which is literally up above my head, connected to the one of my Macs. Hopefully sometime next year maybe I'm going to connect it to both, depending on which one I use for films. Then that down there is my flight case for audio only. So if I'm watching films or listening to music, all the audio goes through that from both Macs. And I've got a compressor limiter crossover, 2 amps, one feeding audio to the tops and the other amp feeding audio to my sub. I used to have 4 sound bars with multiple cables going for all of them. I think I had about 8 to 12 wire connections fit all 4 bars, with multiple extensions to these bars, and thought, no, time to change. So I came up with this idea of creating this flight case using the devices from one of my hybrid systems that I've built, which I've now changed to an active system, as I've said in one of my previous videos. So I've set it all up in this flight case. October last year, 2023, I went to Birmingham to a show called BPM. If anybody doesn't know what BPM stands for, it stands for beats per minute. I'm a DJ, musician, and every single piece of music that's out there all run on BPMs. And I was out there looking for a pair of DJ speakers, not too big and not too small, and I found a pair which I paid about 300 quid for, and they're 18-inch cones with 1.5 or 1.75 horns or something like that, or maybe smaller, and they're by Setronic, and I think they are 250 watts per cabinet, which is plenty for this home cinema system, and that's running off my 1000 watt amplifier, which is the One U device. Some of you may think that the 1000 watts going to 250 watt pair of speakers. It's not. It's basically 500 watts on that amplifier. If you split it into 2, it's 250 watts into these speakers. That's per channel. And then for the low end, I didn't want anything huge, so I didn't bother using one of my DJ subs, which are basically 18 inches, and those subs are running at 400 watts, and the only amp I had has got a bit more extra power than these subs are suitable just for like one sub onto 1 amp if I'd done the settings differently, which I have actually done so on this black amp. So a few years ago I bought a car sub, which is only meant for a car technically, it's a an Orion H2 12.2. It's a 2000 watt RMS sub. It's 12 inches, weighs about 10 kilos. I've got it in a ported box, which I've wired it to 4 ohms because this sub is a dual voice coil. A dual voice coil doesn't mean the sub has 2 separate voice coils moving it. It's basically 2 voice coils conjoined into one. So if you think about that, 2 speakers, slapping them together, and yeah, there we go. It's 1 sub, 2 voice coils. So there's 2 ways of wiring that sub with those coils. One way is bringing it down to 1 ohm or half an ohm, something like that. Or the other way is bringing it up to 4 ohms. And a typical DJ speaker, DJ amp, the minimum resistant ohm is 4 ohms per channel. And so I had to choose the 4 ohm setting on the sub, but that sub is quite powerful for what it is. And the settings I've put this amp at is bridge mono, and which that does or allows for the whole amp to come together at 4 ohms at 3000 watts. So that sub that I've got there right now, it's getting 1000 watts more than it should, but I don't go that high anyway. But it's more, way more than I need for this room. And yeah, it's just absolutely mental. I had a couple of films on this projector, which I've got a 150-inch screen, which is behind the camera right now, including the speakers, which I'll probably post a picture of that area when I edit this video. When I set the level on the Mac, I think it was like bar 2, everything was just shaking on one particular film, and I was actually worried that a couple of things were going to fall off. But yeah, I just love it. Absolutely love it. In fact, I actually had this idea of having it like an IMAX feel, and getting these speakers and behind the screen when the screen is down, so you don't see any of the speakers, which is fabulous. It just, you got everything right there. And now chapter 3 is studio. Being a DJ and into music and electronics, obviously, you can see one board there, which I record off of, and the second board is right here. So that's for phantom power, because I've got 2 microphones that require phantom power at 48 volts, so they go into there, which I've got 2 connections on either side, which go into that board, and then that board goes into that board, which sends all the audio into my main Mac on my left. because I've got an electric guitar, bass guitar, I've got a tank drum, I've got a hand pan, I've got Kas, which is an African instrument. I've got a MIDI keyboard, which I use to make music off of. Everything that I make here in my little sort of pop-up studio type thing also gets played into my audio system. So I don't actually need studio monitors. I've basically got my system here built for pretty much listening to music, listening to films, and making music. But my plan now is, instead of having this flight case of gear sitting there now, is to actually put it behind the screen. Because the amount of cables that are behind that flight case is just crazy. It's basically a fire hazard waiting to happen. So it's time is coming to actually get rid of that flight case, put everything on a wall-mounted cabinet, and just to free up space and have it quieter this end when watching films, so I get all the sound from my speakers. Standard. So hopefully you have enjoyed listening and watching this video about the 3 things that I have in this one room. I've forgotten to mention to you that this room is actually a bedroom, funny enough. And so it's a 4-in-1. Bedroom, office, home cinema system, and studio. Why go elsewhere? But if you want to look up my 3 pages, Gecko Bar Discos, Mike's Music 1000, Mike's Music Transfers, and Lawfee's Garden Services. So those are the 3 businesses that I've done myself, one of which I've started with my fiancée. And soon, this coming weekend, I'll be doing another video on my garden tools and my totes for that. And yeah, hope you're learning what I have and what I've been getting up to. It's been a pretty busy year, to be quite honest with you. Basically looking after my fiancée, basically taking care of her and stuff like that, making a business with her. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video, and maybe next time around when I'm watching a film, I'll get some video clips of it with the sound, that's tops and low end, and it'll be a little bit different from what you've seen before. And yeah, take care, and make sure you subscribe, like, whatever you want to do, and share this video around to your friends, family, whoever. So take it easy, guys.